Long ago, at many times and in many ways, God spoke to our fathers by the prophets. But in these last days, he has spoken to us by his Son. So long ago, he spoke through the prophets at many times and in many ways. What were some of those ways? Through a burning bush, or a burning mountain, or a talking donkey. But in these last days, he has spoken to us through Christ and the apostles whom Christ appointed to carry the gospel to the nations. So the Old Testament has been given to us through the word of the Lord that was delivered through the prophets. The New Testament given to us by the word of God as spoken through his apostles. And this is the completed word of God. God has spoken and is still speaking to us. Because as you see the Old Testament references here in Hebrews chapter 1, you see Old Testament references given as though God is speaking in the presence. Verse 6, when he brings the firstborn into the world, he says. Verse 7, of the angels, he says. Verse 8, but of the Son, he says. So if God can speak to us in the present through the Old Testament, guess what? He is also speaking to us in the present through the New Testament. This is how God speaks to us. Not in inaudible thoughts in your mind or visions and voices that you might receive in a dream. So if somebody comes to you and says, God spoke a word from me, and now here is the word that I have to give you. If what proceeds from their mouth is not from the Bible, guess what? God was not speaking to them. And he is not speaking to you through them. He speaks to you through the word of God. As it will go on to say in Hebrews 4:12, the word of God is living and active. It is speaking to us even now. My friends, you don't even understand this yet. Why are you trying to understand visions and voices that are completely subjective and not the word of God?